Hey everyone, I am back. So yes, if you're like, didn't she have that on in the last video? Yep, I am double dipping. Today is a work day here at my house. So we are gonna be making candles. Yes, like I said, I'm a candle maker. This is what I feel confident in. This is what I love. This is what's happening today. So welcome back to my channel. And in case you didn't know it, I'm Sandra. I am a candle maker, wreath maker, all of that fun stuff, but candle making is where it's at. Like, I know candle making. I've been doing it for some years, and today we're gonna make two of my, well, one of them is my absolute favorite. We're gonna make the vanilla rose, which is my Smell the Roses fragrance in my candle line. And then we're also gonna be making Just Breathe, which is my lavender fragrance. And I'm so excited because today we're actually gonna be doing things a little bit different. I used to, when I first started out making candles, do colors. And then for some reason I'm like, you know what, let me just have them all uniformed and let's just make them all white. And then now that I'm playing around with bath bombs and other products like soaps and everything, I'm like, you know what, let's go back to coloring the candles. So not only are we gonna color the candles, we are also gonna add a little bit of dried lavender and rose petals to each candle. So I'm super excited about making these. I haven't done these like this in a while, so this is gonna be super exciting. So let's get started. Okay, so I wanted to kind of show you, I'm gonna show you beginning to end. So what I am doing right now, so I have my jars. I got these from Hobby Lobby, and I know some people are gonna be like, well, don't you order from a wholesale place or whatever? Hobby Lobby actually has these really cool jars that I actually get at a really good price. When they are on sale, I never buy them when they are not. So that could sometimes lead to a delay in making some of these candles. However, I love these jars. They're super pretty. They have a bamboo lid. Now, if you are wanting to get these jars just to have like a spice jar, these are food grade jars. So I love them. Aren't they super cute? So these are my 14.5 ounce candles. Yes, think about that. So these candles burn for about 45 hours. They are my favorite candle size. I know some people are like, well, you know, I really don't like a big candle. Well, when you find your fragrance, you're just like, I need that all day long. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm wicking my jars with pre-tabbed wicks. Now, pre-tabbed means that they have this little tabby thing on the base of it right here. Now, not all wicks will come like that. You can buy just like rolls of the wick itself and then cut to your desired length. Like they use them for like pillared candles and stuff like that. Freestanding candles in case you're not sure what the pillar means. But I love pre-tabbed wicks. Those are my favorite. It's a no, like just boom, it's already done. What you see me doing is that I took a jumbo straw, okay, which is this pink thing. It's a jumbo straw, and I put my wick through this because it actually helps me reach towards the bottom and be able to push my wick down like this. Some people use pens, some people use like all these, you know, random things. I use a straw. It just helps. So I'm just finding the center, which, because I've been doing this for a while, I don't really have to worry about, like I can find the center pretty fast. So this is, I'm using a CD22 wick. Now, I used to use a different style wick. I used to use a CD26. Now, if you are a candle maker, then you know exactly how hard it is to get wicks. During the pandemic, I think a lot of people took up candle making, and then just, you know, the supply was very limited, and you just could not get candle wicks to save your life. And every jar has to have, like, you measure the diameter, and based on your diameter is the wick that you will use. There are different, there's like CDs, there's Ecos, there's all that stuff. There are all different kinds of styles of wicks that you can use, but you always have to make sure that it fits, your wick is for the diameter of the vessel that you are using, hands down. So I used to use a CD26 wick. However, I felt that my candles could burn a lot cleaner. Let me just turn this down while I'm talking. That it could burn a lot cleaner, meaning that you don't see the soot that can build up, and that's the black stuff. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the candle. I usually see it once a candle has been burning over 4 hours, which is not what we want to do, although we do it. I'm guilty of it too, but that is the proper candle care, is to never burn a candle over 4 hours. But anyways, so I wanted to just change things up. I'm gonna check on my wax. I just wanted to change things up and go with a different wick and a different company. So we're using a CD22, which is still for the diameter of my vessel. So I'm good with that. It's just a different style of wick that I am using. So what I have done here is I've wicked every single jar, and we're gonna do 2 fragrances. And you're like, what are those things she's putting on there? These are my snazzy, what are they called? Skewers that I've snapped in half and taped on the end. There are professional like wick holder uppers, you know, but I have those for my smaller jars. But with my bigger jars, you know, why fix it if it ain't broke? So that's what we're working with. This is what I have. And you know what? I have hundreds of these because I can create as many as I want for next to nothing. So I have all my jars prepped, all my jars are clean. Every jar is like this. So now, this is the fun part. So now that that's done, and I just used hot glue to adhere my wick to the container. I have not had a problem with doing that. So you will 1000% need a scale. Okay, so I have this scale right here that I love. In fact, let me remove this foil piece. That's an old piece. And we're working today with a wax. It's called 464. It's a golden brand wax. That's what I'm using today. It's just your basic, I'm gonna say basic for me, candle wax. It's super easy. It's great for beginners. Bring this over here. I'm gonna show you what I've got right here. Oh, you can see it. You can see it. The 464 is a container wax, meaning you can't make a pillared wax, like a standalone candle with it. You can't make wax melts with it. I mean, you can, but they are not gonna come out. They're not gonna come out the way wax melts should. So that's what we are working with right here. I do change my wax to, I think it's the 444. I change it to the 444 in the summertime because it's better to ship, because it's a little bit, I don't want to say solid, but it's a harder wax. So it doesn't melt as easily, like if you were to mail a candle, because I'm always terrified that this is gonna like melt while it's in shipping and somebody gets a candle and it's just a big blob. So today we are working with 464. I have heated this pot up to 200 degrees, which when you start making candles, you'll kind of find your number. Usually between 180 to 200 is where you want to heat it up to. That's where I have this right here. So again, I love the dollar store. So I get these containers from the dollar store because I never have to wash or rinse these, because I have one container per fragrance, so there's never cross-contamination when it comes to blending or whatnot. So this is always what I use to make my vanilla rose. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this on to the scale, and we're gonna weigh out our wax. So I already have a bunch of wax in here. Now, I do want to show you, because I know a lot of people, so this does have a spout on there. However, I don't like this spout. It seems like it's a lot tougher than my one on my Presto pot. So you know what? I don't even, I haven't really bothered with repairing it yet because I found just like a cup, scoop it out, it's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and move these over here. So for 5 of my 14.5 ounce candles, when it comes to the wax, I am going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna put 1,475 grams of wax in here. This is the max amount of wax that you're gonna want in this container because it is going to be actually pretty full. So we're gonna go ahead, I have it tiered out here. So I already know that I can get at least 2 scoops in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it while I'm right here. Actually, because we're doing the 5, I can probably get it up to the top. All right. Let's see where we're at right now. We're at 1261. We're gonna go up to, like I said, to 1475. Okay. Now, the wax that is in this big black pot is just basic melted wax. I don't add any fragrance or anything like that. I do it all in these containers. So now, what we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna add some colorant, and we're gonna actually use, we're gonna do some dye chips. So I'm gonna use this lilac that I got on Amazon. It's the WICKS X Light. I know a lot of beginners use this person's wicks and wax. Ugh. You know, I used to use it in the beginning, but because it doesn't really give you too much information about, like, especially when it comes to the wick, I don't recommend it if you're going to be a candle maker. Only because it's harder to define what style of wick it is. Do you see what I'm saying? So you don't know exactly what diameter that wick is for. Unless this person has changed their information when selling them. All right, so I've got a few dye chips in here. I've got a nice color. Now, this wax is originally white. So you have to remember when you add your colorant that even though it's this beautiful dark color right now, it is not going to stay that dark color because the white's gonna come back and it's gonna lighten this up, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. I've been working with this wax for a long time. I know that. So I'm gonna put this down here. I'm still checking temperatures. You always gotta maintain your temperatures when it comes to wax. And then now it's gonna be our fragrance oils. So now I'm gonna do our fragrance oils. I'm gonna do 145, actually. Oh my goodness, okay. I wanted this to be pink. Oh my gosh, I swear. So you know what, now I'm gonna have to wash this. Okay, take that back. So Vanilla Rose now has to be washed. But anyways, we're still gonna use, or we're gonna go, because we're gonna use Blue Cedar Lavender because we're not having purple rose, purple smell the roses. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do 145. I'm just like, Sandra. Oh my goodness. That's what happens when I talk too much and I'm trying to concentrate. I'll get the hang of it. Okay, so what I got, 70 right there. Sorry, the Vanilla Rose container. Okay, tear that out. Ooh, there we go, perfect. And just enough. Okay, so this is not Vanilla Rose. This is actually my Blue Lavender. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and mix that up. And I will pour this when it's at about 1 135 degrees, when it's 135 degrees. This wax is starting to cool, so I'm gonna put it back on the stove and let it heat back up to 200. So you really wanna monitor your wax, okay? So we got this. Now, I know a lot of people will try to heat their jars up before they pour. I just pour straight. I found no matter what process you use, you're always gonna have the adhesion where the wax pull away from the jar. That's totally normal. This is an all soy wax, so that is normal for that to happen, okay? So we're gonna leave this right here. Let's check the temperature on this. I've got these little thermometers that I like to use. Okay, so we're still at way past 160, so we don't even, this is just gonna get set aside for the moment. We're not gonna add the lavender petals just yet, so we're gonna do that once we pour and it cools just a little bit. So now we're gonna go ahead, you know what, actually, okay, because since this is my blue lavender, you know what I'm gonna do? Just so we only have one container that's cross-contaminated, and then I'll want to wipe this out. I'll show you what I do. I'm gonna go ahead and just pour this beauty in here. All right, there we go. Now we're in the right container. All right, so here's, if this happens to you, okay, just gonna wipe that real good. And as a candle maker, I do want to forewarn you, it's just inevitable to use a lot of paper towels. That is why I use these containers, because I don't like to use so many paper towels. Try to cut down where I can. But let me go get my rubbing alcohol so I can spray this out. Okay, so I just have some rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna spray in there just so I can get the fragrance out of here. Okay, that's how you do that. That's how we take care of that problem. All right, let's check our wax on the stove. Okay, we got it back up to the 200, just like I said, where I like it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and weigh out another 1475. Okay, so we got this. And if you're looking for like a pot to, like this big black one, yard sales, thrift stores, don't worry about having to go and buy a brand new one. Sanitize it, clean it out. I mean, that's where I got mine. All right. Perfect. All right, so we got the correct amount of wax in here. And with this one, we might do a liquid coloring. And let's see what I have. Yeah, let's go with Candle Science's red liquid dye. I don't actually have a preference when it comes to the dye chips, which Candle Science also offers, or the liquid. I like them both. And I have used mica coloring in my candles. And I love that too. I love the shimmer effect that mica gives. All right. So this is a red. I did about 4 drops, did I? A couple more. All right, we're gonna have fun with this one. All right, so I know that this one is really, really hot, but we're gonna check the temperature of the lavender one. We're just about there. We're still a little too hot. All right, so this is what I do. And now it's just kind of like a waiting game, constantly monitoring temperatures, making sure that once it cools to that 135-ish, that I'm ready to pour. And before I forget, let's add the fragrance oil. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I just forget a step? Okay, so again, we're gonna go to 70 on this one. There we go. Man, I love this fragrance oil. Oh my gosh. It's like the one from Bath and Body Works, that vanilla rose, or that really soft rose. That's what this is, and it's my absolute favorite. When I found this fragrance oil, I was like, yes, this is exactly, okay, so I'm gonna need two more, what I have been looking for forever. I'm very particular about rose smells. So this was definitely my absolute favorite. It's Bath and Body Works type. It's vanilla rose, or rose vanilla. I'm telling y'all, if you're one of those people that love that rose fragrance, this is it. And this is what I call stop and smell the roses. All right, now we wait for fragrance oil, or this candle wax to cool a little bit. I swear. Normally when I do this kind of stuff, it's completely silent. I don't listen to music, I don't do anything, I just focus. So this is a little, can be a little confusing for me. All right, now we wait for the wax to come down to that 135 before I forget, let's add the fragrance oil. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I just forget a step? Okay, so again, we're gonna go to 70 on this one. There we go. Man, I love this fragrance oil. Oh my gosh. It's like the one from Bath and Body Works, that vanilla rose, or that really soft rose. That's what this is, and it's my absolute favorite. When I found this fragrance oil, I was like, yes, this is exactly, okay, so I'm gonna need two more, what I have been looking for forever. I'm very particular about rose smells. So this was definitely my absolute favorite. It's Bath and Body Works type. It's vanilla rose, or rose vanilla. I'm telling y'all, if you're one of those people that love that rose fragrance, this is it. And this is what I call stop and smell the roses. All right, now we wait for fragrance oil, or this candle wax to cool a little bit. I swear. Normally when I do this kind of stuff, it's completely silent. I don't listen to music, I don't do anything, I just focus. So this is a little, can be a little confusing for me. All right, now we wait for the wax to come down to that 135 before we start pouring. All right guys, so my wax has now cooled to a 130, and I swear, these jars are not my 14.5. They're my 11.5 grams, or 11.5 ounces. This is that candle. My 14.5s are just a tad bit bigger. Those are my favorite Is my name even Sandra? Crazy. Okay, so now that I'm getting on track, I think every candle video I've done where I'm like, wait, what? Because like I said, I normally do this in complete silence, but I'm gonna get used to this. It's just all part of the biz. So anyways, okay. So these are, again, 11.5. I do not have my 14.5s available because people do like the smaller candles. They like them even smaller than this, but I like these. So that's why I make them. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and start pouring. And I do put my jars on the scale just to make sure that I get the exact amount every single time, because as you can see, there is like no like markings or anything like that on here to kind of guide you to where to pour to, like in some other containers. This, it's just like you can either under pour or over pour. So I always like to measure like this. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna bring the camera down. Boop. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this out so y'all can see. All right, there we go. Drop the camera down. Not that this is like a big thing, but I'm just gonna show you. So I know that I need to pour to at least 323 in grams. I like to do everything by grams because it's just, you can get a more accurate whatever it is that you're doing. Perfect. So that is 323. I love this color. Let me show you. Can I take y'all down off this? Ooh, there we go. Okay, let's look at that color. How pretty is that? Now again, because this is a white wax, this is gonna cool a lot lighter than this. So I'm not going to add the lavender petals that I have right here, only because what's gonna happen if I do, they're all just gonna sink right to the bottom. They're not gonna be sprinkled throughout the container. So we're just gonna do it towards the end. Okay, so once I get this poured, I'm just gonna ever so carefully take it down and set it down. And then we're gonna do it again and again and again. And I'll show you what it's gonna look like when we start to add the lavender petals in. You still wanna, really monitor your wax. There we go. You still wanna monitor your wax because you don't want it to be too hard, or else they're just gonna be laying on top and then they're gonna be loose. They aren't gonna actually adhere to the candle, and they're just gonna kind of be laying there. And I always like to double check my wicks to make sure that they're perfectly straight, because even though we've got them in there straight, sorry, one second. Even though we got them in there straight, they can move, and you don't want it to be in there straight and then, goes like this. So double check your wicks, because that is a huge factor in making candles, the wicks. So, all right. Okay, one more. See, that wick had slid. Okay. All right. There we go. Now we have all 5 of them poured. And the cooling process does still take a while. So, you don't have to stand here and watch it, but definitely don't forget about it. Come back every, I would say give it every 5 minutes, you know, until you kind of find your time of when you like to add your petals. Now I'm just gonna bring this over here. I think this is way too hot. But you get the process. You understand how to pour the candle after seeing that. You know, and like I said, these are gonna be the little lavender petals that we're gonna drop in there. I know a lot of people really like to go all out when they pour or put flowers in here. We're just gonna keep it simple, Sandra, and I just wanna do a test. Yep, they're sinking right to the bottom. Yep, that's what they're doing. So yeah, I don't like to do that because I just worry about the fire hazard and all of that. So we're just gonna add these little sprinkles as soon as it cools just a little bit more. Okay, so once I get this poured, I'm just gonna ever so carefully take it down and set it down. And then we're gonna do it again and again and again. And I'll show you what it's gonna look like when we start to add the lavender petals in. You still wanna, you know, really monitor your wax. There we go. You still wanna monitor your wax because you don't want it to be too hard or else they're just gonna be laying on top and then they're gonna be loose. They aren't gonna actually adhere to the candle and they're just gonna kind of be laying there. And I always like to double check my wicks to make sure that they're perfectly straight, because even though we've got them in there straight, sorry, one second. Even though we got them in there straight, they can move and you don't want it to be in there straight and then, you know, goes like this. So double check your wicks, you know, because that is a huge factor in making candles, the wicks. So, all right. Okay, one more. See, that wick had slid. Okay. All right. There we go. Now we have all 5 of them poured. And the cooling process does still take a while. So, you know, you don't have to stand here and watch it, you know, but definitely don't forget about it. You know, come back every, you know, I would say give it every 5 minutes, you know, until you kind of find your time of when you like to add your petals. Now I'm just gonna bring this over here. I think this is way too hot. But you get the process. You understand how to pour the candle after seeing that. You know, and like I said, these are gonna be the little lavender petals that we're gonna drop in there. I know a lot of people really like to go all out when they pour or put flowers in here. We're just gonna keep it simple, Sandra, and I just wanna do a test. Yep, they're sinking right to the bottom. Yep, that's what they're doing. So yeah, I don't like to do that because I just worry about the fire hazard and all of that. So we're just gonna add these little sprinkles as soon as it cools just a little bit more. Okay, so while I was waiting for this, Coco got to go outside and she is desperately wanting to go bye-bye. But anyways, so can you see, yeah, you guys can see that layer that's starting to develop on the top of the candles. So that's what I'm looking for. See, the red doesn't have that just yet because that means that this is not all just gonna sink to the bottom. It's starting to solidify. Okay, there we go. All right, so it's not all gonna sink to the bottom. It's basically what I don't want it to do. I don't want, so like if we did this, who knows? Watch, this is not, they're not going to sink to the bottom because I'm showing you. Let's see what happens with the rose. And yes, some of these are big pieces. I try to chop them up just a little bit smaller. Oh, but these are so pretty. I love it. Okay, so it's not sinking to the bottom either. I have to admit, this is the first time I've ever put rose petals into a flower, or oh gosh, into a candle, because I've always been nervous about adding things because I'm like, fire danger, but we're not adding a bunch of like really giant pieces. So I'm loving it. Looks like they're just gonna sit. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for these to cool 100% so we can see exactly what the coloring looks like, especially like as you're looking at it right now. See how it's, ooh, look at that. It's starting to solidify. I love watching this. I gotta do a time lapse of this one of these days. Okay, now, so it's been a couple of hours, and as you can see, the candles have completely cured. However, we do have sinkholes. See right there? Now, this is nothing to like, you know, cry about, seriously, because this will happen. It happens, I don't want to say every single time, but it happens for various reasons. Some people say, you know, the jar was too cold. You should have had them closer together. There's so many things. And I guarantee you, when you try every single one of those things, you're still going to have sometimes, you're going to have this happen sometimes. So please, new candle makers, do not lose your mind over that. This will happen. That is why you get yourself a heat gun. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that this is on low, and you're going to go over the tops. I go in like a circular motion so I get an even heat, and you're going to heat the top up, and then those sinkholes will disappear, I promise. You'll re-cure the entire top, and this does not affect the, this is not a defect on the candle. This doesn't affect its performance or anything like that. It just so happens that this is the way the candle happened to cure. It is still the same weight, all of those good things. So when this happens, please, I always have to stress. Now, let me see if I have any. So the glass adhesion was really nice, which sometimes you can see what they're called, like wet spots. And thankfully, I don't have that on my candles, but I've had that happen too. Not a big deal. You just have to roll with the punches. This is just what happens when you do candle making. This is all something that can be completely and totally fixed. And again, it does not affect the quality of the candle nor the performance. It's just candle making. So this is what we have. Now I'm going to trim the wicks and get the labels printed out. All right, so the candles, it's a whole new day, and just in case you didn't know. And so the candles have cured, and I want to show you because I know yesterday when I was telling you about how like the tops were like had little holes or whatever. This is what happens when you take a heat gun over it. You still get a smooth finish. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, it will not damage the candle when you go over it with the heat gun. It just smooths it out. So I've obviously labeled. I think the color really does make it pop. And I love the little added bonus of the lavender petals in there. Same with the rose. I love it. Let me show you. I just love the smell. I'm a rose person. I absolutely love rose. So how pretty is that? Okay, so this is our finished product. Smell the roses and just breathe. And I use a glossy label on here now. I was using a matte one, I think a few months ago, but I really love this glossy label. And yeah, so I'll put links for like the jars, the labels I use, and I'll let you know that I do use Canva and Avery to make labels. And I think I'm going to do a label tutorial. because like I said before, it has taken me forever to figure out how to do the labels. And then once I figured it out, I was like, how come nobody doesn't just say this? Like, how come everybody's like making it so difficult when it's like super easy, 1, 2, 3. But anyways, I will be that person that will be like, hey, don't even worry. It's not all that crazy complicated. It's super simple. But anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this candle tutorial or candle making tutorial. I know there was like a little bumps in the road, but I promise as we keep going, like I said, I'm so used to doing it with pure silence that when I was like talking, I'm like, wait, what? But anyways, I will be definitely doing more tutorials because we're going to start playing around with colors and all that other stuff. And I'll let you know like what my favorites are. I have fragrance oils from several different companies, and we'll chat, for all of you candle makers. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you like what I'm giving you, go ahead and subscribe, because I really love it when you're just like, hey, this is my thing, because that just lets me know that I'm doing what you guys want. And if we can build this community up, I'm just telling you, we've got more stuff headed your way. And I say we, me, the cat, and the dog. Because the more subscribers allows me to do more. So I can't wait to just keep pushing out all these videos. I'm finally getting my schedule down right. So we're now I'm starting to record a bunch of stuff, and it's just going to be fabulous. And of course, if you like this and you think it's informative, share with your friends, share this video, be like, hey, y'all got to see this. So, anyways, that was Candle Making 102. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you guys again in my next video.